What's up everyone, Justin with at&t Apple here, and today I'm here to compare the iPhone 5 with the Samsung Galaxy S3. So the Samsung Galaxy S3 is arguably one of the best Android phones on the market at the moment, and the newly released iPhone 5, which came out yesterday, is definitely a competitor and is what everybody wants to compare in terms of deciding what phone they should purchase. So let's go ahead and run through the specs first. The Samsung Galaxy S3 comes in at 133 grams, while the iPhone 5 comes in at just 117. The thickness of the iPhone 5 is at 7.6 millimeters, while the Samsung Galaxy S3 is pretty close at just 8.6 millimeters. The screen size on the Samsung Galaxy S3 is 4.8, while on the iPhone 5 is 4 inches. And the resolution is 1280 by 720 on the S3, and 1136 by 640 on the iPhone 5. The PPI is 306 on the S3 and 326 on the iPhone 5. So overall, the screen resolution quality should be pretty close. The storage options come in 16, 32, and 64 for both models. However, the S3 is expandable with a micro SD card of up to 64 GB, while the iPhone 5 is limited to what you buy. The battery in this point is quite a big difference. The iPhone 5 has 1400 milliamps and the Samsung Galaxy S3 features 2100 milliamps of battery, so you definitely see a difference there. The front-facing camera on the S3 is at 1.9, while the iPhone 5 it is at 1.2. So pretty much the rear cameras stay the same at 8 megapixels on both of them. The aperture is a little bit different, 2.6 on the S3 and iPhone 5 features 2.4 for the aperture, so you should get a little bit better depth of field on the iPhone 5. However, it is barely noticeable. The iPhone 5 runs iOS 6, obviously, made by Apple, and Android runs Android 4.0, and hopefully Jelly Bean coming soon. The Samsung Galaxy S3 also has NFC capability, and these phones both feature 4G LTE. And another category that the Samsung Galaxy S3 leads in is also the 2 GB of RAM versus the 1 GB on the iPhone 5. And the iPhone 5 has an Apple A6 1 GHz dual-core processor, while the Samsung Galaxy S3 has an Exynos 4412 or a Snapdragon S4 quad-core 1400 MHz, or you can also overclock it processors. So there's a difference there. However, in terms of the benchmarks, the iPhone 5 actually did top the S3. Let's go ahead and skip to the hardware, and then we'll go back to the software. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the screen size. You guys can probably notice already that the Samsung Galaxy S3 has a much bigger screen than the iPhone 5 at 4.8 inches, while the iPhone 5 only has a 4-inch screen. Apple didn't want to go too big, mainly because of the reason that they wanted to allow you to still operate with one hand easily, and the S3 is, in my opinion, a great size screen. It still doesn't feel too big, but it is noticeably different, so it really depends on what you like. So let's go ahead and stack these up together. And as you can see, there is a difference in the height and the width, just a little bit to the corners. And towards the side, as you know, Apple claims that this iPhone is the thinnest smartphone on the market, which isn't really true, as there are some phones called the ZTE Athena, which is almost about 1 millimeter thinner than the iPhone, but Apple doesn't really want to admit it. And the iPhone has more of like a square finish, the side bezel, while the Samsung Galaxy S3 has more of a curved back. So from first thoughts, I felt the Samsung Galaxy S3 felt thinner, maybe because of the fact that it is wider and that it has the curved edges, so it felt thinner than the iPhone 5, but that's just a look from the side. It really isn't noticeable, so it doesn't really matter. However, one thing that really separates these devices is the back, where the iPhone 5, the first thing that comes out when you take out the screws is the screen, and the back is probably the last thing that comes out. So it doesn't have the removable back as seen on the previous generations. However, the Samsung Galaxy S3 has a removable back, and you're able to swap out the batteries. If you ever decide to bring some spare batteries with you, you're able to take out the back and throw in another battery, while the iPhone 5, don't even try doing that. The ports on the Samsung Galaxy S3 are a micro USB, so this is a standard port that is easy to find and is compatible with many devices. And the headphone jack is located at the top with its power button on the side. And the iPhone 5 has the lightning dock connector, a new redesigned 9-pin dock connector, which is proprietary, because as you know, Apple likes to have proprietary things, and for those who have a 30-pin dock connector, you're kind of out of luck there. So In my opinion, mainly the only thing really found an advantage of this is that Apple wanted to make everything smaller and be able to fit in everything, but other than that, there isn't really an advantage except for the fact that it is easier to plug in, and Apple's want to make more space in there. The headphone jack is now located on the bottom, which I don't really like. I kind of prefer it to be on the top as it's just easier to access, or when it's in your pocket. You don't have to take your phone out upside down and all that. So that's one thing I didn't really like. Apple apparently has upgraded the speakers. And another look at the back is also the camera. Like I said, these phones both feature 8 megapixel cameras. The aperture is pretty close, and specs wise, these are both pretty close. They both do feature a flash, and on the back is a microphone, as you can see on both of them. From first test, the iPhone 5 has very, very good video recording capabilities, and overall, Apple's cameras, as well on the iPhone 4S, have known to be probably edging other competitors in terms of its video quality. The camera, I believe, is slightly better on the iPhone 5 in terms of the white balance and the clarity, as you can see. So this is just the front-facing video camera test and audio of the Samsung Galaxy S3. Let's go ahead and show you guys the one on the iPhone 5. So this is just a video quality front-facing camera test, which is a 720p camera, and also microphone test on the iPhone 5. Overall, I think the video quality on both of them are pretty close. However, the microphone on the iPhone 5 is much better. I think the Samsung Galaxy S3 does get the edge for the color though, but the iPhone 5 is very, very close. So now let's go ahead and do a speed test between the Samsung Galaxy S3 and the iPhone 5. So they are both on the same server. I will be conducting 2 tests for each device, 1 device at a time. So let's go ahead and get started and test the Samsung Galaxy S3. It's getting speeds that it should be getting somewhere around the 34 range. On a laptop I usually get just around 50. So these are definitely pretty good speeds. Here, let's go ahead and see what the iPhone 5 can do. So now let's go ahead and see what the iPhone 5 is capable of getting. The ping gets a pretty good solid 16 milliseconds. And the Wi-Fi speed is up at 42.22. The upload speed is at 4.81, so it does edge the Samsung Galaxy S3 in terms of the upload speed, its ping, but it does have a significant improvement in its download speed. So let's go ahead and do a second test, give the Samsung Galaxy S3 a second chance here. The ping is a little bit slower this time, but its download speed at 33 is by no means bad, but let's see what this iPhone 5 can do compared to that on its second try. So I have no idea what happened with the upload speed there, but it got a 0.45. Let's go ahead and see what the iPhone 5 can do on its second try. So came out with a 28.83, and its upload speed is at 4.81, which is about what we should be seeing. So overall, the scores on the Samsung Galaxy S3 were still pretty good. However, the iPhone 5 did prove to be better in terms of its Wi-Fi speed test. And I don't actually have 4G LTE coverage in my area, but from the comparisons I've seen, the iPhone 5 barely edges the Samsung Galaxy S3 in its 4G speed test. Overall, with Samsung's or any Android, you find more customizations, and each company has their own different ways of doing it. They do put their own skins. With Samsung, they use TouchWiz, which some people like, some people don't like. But overall, you do have much more customization, more control over the operating system as to Apple. Some things are missing, and maybe that's why most people do jailbreaks to it, is because you don't have the features that you should be getting in terms of the settings, being able to tweak it, and some easy access. So I do think OS is getting a little bit old. I am still very used to it and very happy with it, but I do think it's time that Apple changes it up and gives us more of a customization, at least moving closer towards Android. As right now, Android really is starting to dominate the market in terms of its evolution over the past few years and the way it's changed. So let me know what you guys think below. No fanboy wars, but just let me know what you guys think between the phones, what you're getting, what color, whatever you want to tell me, or what other phone you want me to compare this to. So thanks for watching. This is just a comparison of the iPhone 5 and the Samsung Galaxy S3.